to get my back blown out in peace. You think I got time to talk about a divorce that's a year old?
When Aaron first met Teyana, he couldn't have known how much she would eventually mean to him. It wasn't about her public persona, her beauty, or her rising star. It was the way she showed up for him when he needed someone most. Quietly, sincerely, and without conditions. Their story didn't begin with fireworks. It started slowly, almost unnoticed. Teyana had just stepped out of a difficult chapter in her life, a quiet storm she never fully explained, but one that left her visibly changed. Still, she carried herself with grace. She wasn't trying to be seen. She was just trying to heal. Then Aaron began appearing by her side. Not in grand gestures or big statements, but in the small, meaningful ways that matter. Standing at the edge of a set, lending a hand without being asked, present but never overshadowing her light. They didn't post about each other, or make a scene of their connection. Yet somehow, people noticed. The softness between them said more than any caption could. For a while it worked. Teyana glowed with a calm that hadn't been there before. There was a lightness to her laughter, a steadiness in her step. And Aaron? He looked grounded, like someone who had found something real. But love doesn't always fall apart in dramatic ways. Sometimes it unravels in silence. In missed calls, awkward pauses, and long stretches of quiet where there used to be warmth. That's how things began to shift. Slowly, subtly, people began to talk when Aaron missed an important event where Teyana was being recognized. She didn't make a statement, but her post that night simply read, "Sometimes absence says more than words ever could." That was enough for her followers to sense something had changed. Still, she stayed composed. No drama, no public callouts. She just started pulling back. Then came the photos, Aaron, overseas at a party. Nothing incriminating, but close enough to raise eyebrows. Teyana didn't respond directly. Instead, she posted a photo of her daughter with the caption, "My peace lives here." No one needed more context. In time, quiet truths began to surface. Whispers became confirmation. Still, Teyana never fueled the flames. She let her silence speak. Now months later, Aaron has begun to speak out. Regret laced through his words. But the timing is off. Sometimes, when the moment passes, so does the chance to make things right. Their story wasn't about perfection. It was about connection. And sometimes, even that isn't enough to hold people together when the quiet between them grows too loud. She didn't go public. She didn't make a scene. She simply sent a message, calm, direct, and honest. She told Teyana she had been seeing Aaron for months, unaware that he was in a relationship. She included screenshots, voice messages, timestamps. It was undeniable. It was heartbreaking. Teyana didn't react with rage. She didn't take it to social media. She didn't even confront him right away. She sat with it, let the truth settle in, replayed the memories, all the time she had stood by him, defended him, trusted that what they had was real. That maybe, for once, she had chosen someone who wouldn't disappoint her. When she finally confronted Aaron, he denied everything, said it was nothing, that the woman was seeking attention, that it was a misunderstanding. But the evidence was too detailed, the excuses too rehearsed. And in that moment, something shifted. That was the night she ended it. No dramatic goodbye, no cryptic posts. She unfollowed him, wiped their photos clean, and fell silent. But her silence wasn't empty. It spoke volumes, louder than any caption or statement ever could. And then, quietly, she began to rise. No messy interviews, no public tears. Just focused energy. She poured herself into her work, and soon after, dropped a visual project that sent waves through her fanbase. One scene stood out. A woman standing in fire, untouched, unbothered. It was art, but it was also truth. Teyana had walked through the flames and emerged whole. Time passed. The headlines faded. Aaron, meanwhile, disappeared from view. His social media slowed. Brands pulled away. Invitations stopped coming. And the silence he once ignored now surrounded him. Teyana kept moving. She was present, glowing, radiant. She didn't just survive, she thrived. And then one day, without warning, Aaron finally spoke. Not on a major platform. Not with a press team behind him. It was on a small podcast, the kind that feels more like a confession than a performance. He spoke about missed opportunities, paused projects, and regrets. But then came the question that couldn't be dodged. What happened between you and Teyana? He looked down, took a breath, and said what no one expected. I was wrong. No excuses. No blaming the pressure or the pace. Just the truth. Raw, overdue, and finally spoken. I had something real. Someone solid. And I let it slip through my hands. That's how Aaron began, voice low, vulnerable. On a quiet podcast episode that no one expected to go viral. He admitted it all. Said he didn't understand what she meant to him until the calls stopped. Until her silence became louder than any goodbye. She loved me harder than anyone ever had, he said. She believed in me when I couldn't even believe in myself. She brought peace to my chaos, and I gave her confusion in return. He didn't hold back. Every time she asked me to be honest, I gave her excuses. Every time she offered grace, I tested it. And when she made room for me in her life, I showed up halfway. There was a crack in his voice. Not performative, just painfully honest. I didn't cheat because I was searching for more, he confessed. I cheated because I didn't think I deserved what she was giving me. I didn't know how to rise to her level. So I pulled her down to mine. The clip spread fast. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. Raw. Unexpected. Some called it too little, too late. Others respected the accountability. But one line echoed louder than the rest. Watching her glow up without me, without ever saying my name, that's what broke me. Because I realized I wasn't her heartbreak. I was the lesson. And Teyana? She said nothing. No cryptic captions. No likes on shady tweets. Just one stunning photo, her in a white gown, walking into a gala captioned, "Healed women don't argue. They elevate." The internet didn't need more. That was closure. Still, the public wondered, would she ever reach out? Even privately? According to sources, she didn't. She didn't need to. She had already made peace. With or without the apology. Weeks later, word got out that Aaron had reached out. Texts. Flowers. Requests for a conversation. All met with silence. Because Teyana had already moved on. No public announcement, no rebound spectacle. Just quiet dinners with someone new. Not a celebrity. Not in the limelight. Just a grounded, private man who respected her boundaries and protected her peace. They were spotted smiling, laughing in ways she hadn't in a long time. Aaron, meanwhile, faded from the spotlight. No new projects. No red carpets. Just occasional, introspective posts. One that read, "Some mistakes teach you what loss really feels like. I learned mine too late." And maybe that's the hardest part. Not that he lost her, but that he didn't even realize what he had until she no longer needed to be his. Because Teyana wasn't just a chapter. She was the book he never finished. The one that held all the answers he pretended not to need. Now, with the world watching, he's finally telling the truth. But she's no longer listening. Her silence isn't bitterness. It's growth. She's living, building, evolving, no longer dragging the past behind her. And in that silence, Aaron is learning the harshest lesson of his life. Sometimes the real heartbreak isn't losing the relationship. It's realizing you were the one who broke it. That your lies didn't just cost you love, they shattered something sacred. That the woman who once cried for you is now thriving without you. That's the real sting. Knowing you lost the best thing you ever had because you couldn't tell the truth when it mattered. But Teyana, she's not broken. She's not surviving, she's blooming. She walks into every room with grace and fire. Every project she drops is a statement. Every smile she shares is louder than any clapback could ever be. She didn't just move on. She rose, like a phoenix from the ashes of betrayal. She turned pain into power, silence into strength. And the loudest statement she ever made was this: "I'm good. I'm better. And I don't need you anymore." Aaron finally admitted he was wrong. Maybe for the first time he really meant it. But apologies don't erase history. They don't rebuild broken trust or restore what was already gone. The woman who gave him everything, her loyalty, her love, her belief, is gone. And she's not looking back. Her greatest revenge? It wasn't a messy rant. It wasn't a public feud or a tell-all. It was the glow-up. That quiet, undeniable radiance. That inner peace that silences doubt and drowns out noise. The kind of evolution that doesn't require explanations. She came back on her terms, stronger, softer, and brighter than ever. And Aaron? He's left with a memory, a regret, and a truth he can't escape. Because when you hurt a woman who has learned how to heal herself, you don't just lose her. You lose every version of yourself that she helped create. The support, the stability, the future, all gone. And Teyana? She's writing a new story now. One where she's not settling. One where her love is finally returned with equal depth, loyalty, and care. She's not looking back. She's becoming.